Picture this. Two early humans. Open landscape, no shelter nearby. One of them suddenly notices movement in the trees. Something is watching them. It could be food. It could kill them both in under a minute. They have only a few seconds to communicate the difference, and not a single word exists between them to do it. So what actually happens? Many researchers think the earliest forms of human communication sounded nothing like modern speech. No complete sentences, no grammar, no names. Instead, imagine a vocabulary built almost entirely from sounds. A sharp bark for danger, a rising call for food, a long, low tone to gather the group together. Less like speaking, more like an orchestra of instinct. Strange enough, but that wasn't the whole story. The first clue wasn't hidden inside a skull. It was hanging around someone's neck. At Blombos Cave on the southern coast of South Africa, archaeologists uncovered tiny shell beads with holes carefully pierced through their centers. Around 75,000 years old. Too fragile to hunt with. Too carefully made to be random decoration. Whoever wore them was saying something. We still don't know exactly what, but everyone standing nearby probably did. Archaeologist Christopher Henshilwood, who led the excavation, argues these beads functioned as an early message system, a way of showing identity, belonging, or social status without speaking a single word. An entire introduction, worn on the body, understood at a glance. Think about that the next time you put on a sports jersey, a military uniform, a company badge, or even choose the profile picture on your phone. Different technology, same human instinct. But beads can't warn someone about a lion. So how did they communicate danger? With sound. Long before grammar, early humans almost certainly relied on urgent vocal calls, much like the alarm calls used by vervet monkeys today. One sound for an eagle, another for a leopard, another for a snake. No explanation needed, no translation. Instant understanding. And here's the strange part. You still carry that system inside you, right now. Someone screams behind you. Your heart starts racing before you've consciously understood a single word. You don't decide to be afraid. It happens before the decision is possible. That reaction isn't modern. Part of your brain is still listening for something much older than language, and it never stopped. But alarms don't create friendships. So how did strangers become allies? Through touch. Anthropologist Robin Dunbar has spent decades studying social bonding in humans and our closest primate relatives. His research suggests grooming wasn't mainly about cleaning one another, it was communication. A slow, repeated signal that quietly said without any words at all, "I'm not a threat. You can stay. You belong here." Dunbar goes further, arguing that spoken language may have evolved partly because human groups became too large for everyone to maintain these bonds through physical grooming alone. Touch said it first. Words simply learned how to say it faster, to more people at once. Even today, that ancient signal hasn't disappeared. A reassuring hand on your shoulder, a parent holding a frightened child, two old friends embracing after years apart. No translation required. The message arrives before the words do. But touch only works once someone is already close. So how do you communicate with a complete stranger from across an open landscape? You use the one thing they can't stop looking at, your face. Long before language, your face may have been one of humanity's first shared dictionaries. Eyes widened in fear, a tightened jaw, a raised eyebrow, a cautious smile. Across cultures separated by thousands of miles and thousands of years, many facial expressions carry the same meaning without a single word being exchanged. Long before humans explained emotions, they simply showed them, and everyone else learned how to read them. But humans weren't the only ones learning. Somewhere around 23,000 years ago, though some archaeological finds push that date back even further, wolves began lingering near human camps instead of running away. Humans, in turn, tolerated their presence. No negotiations, no shared vocabulary, no promises made, just repeated encounters, repeated tolerance, repeated trust. Generation after generation, until one of humanity's most unlikely partnerships quietly emerged. The dog wasn't created through language, it was created through something older. Consistent presence, over time, that eventually meant something neither species had words for. And maybe the strangest form of communication wasn't making a sound at all. It was choosing not to. Imagine stalking an animal through tall grass with 10 other hunters. One careless sound and dinner disappears. Everyone has to understand the plan without speaking. A glance, a pointing finger, a shift in someone's posture. Humans became remarkably skilled at reading each other's intentions in near total silence. Sometimes, silence wasn't the absence of communication. It was proof that communication had become good enough to no longer need sound. Then, something changed everything. Fire. Fire didn't just cook food or keep predators back. It extended the day. For the first time, people could gather safely in the dark, long after the sun had disappeared. They watched the same flames, shared the same food, copied the same movements, repeated the same sounds back to each other. Some researchers believe these long evenings around a fire may have given early communication room to grow into something richer. Not full language, not yet, but perhaps the beginning of stories, the beginning of teaching, the beginning of passing something, an idea, a memory, a warning, from one generation to the next. There's another possibility, still debated but hard to ignore. Some researchers think rhythm may have arrived before language itself. Before humans could fully explain an idea, they may have synchronized one, clapping, stomping, chanting together in the dark around a fire. A group moving as one body long before it could speak as one voice. Shared movement before shared words. And when someone was lost, even grief found a way to speak. At Shanidar Cave in present-day Iraq, archaeologists uncovered a Neanderthal burial surrounded by clusters of ancient flower pollen. The discovery sparked decades of debate. Some researchers, including Ralph Selecki, who led the original excavation, believe flowers were deliberately placed beside the body as a final act of care. Others argue the pollen may have arrived naturally, carried by burrowing animals over thousands of years. The argument continues, but the burial itself is not in question. Someone was placed in the ground with intention. Someone wasn't simply left behind. And across tens of thousands of years, that grave still communicates something that needs no translation at all. Someone mattered. Someone was loved. Someone was missed. Beads, alarm calls, touch, faces, silence, fire, rhythm, a carefully prepared grave. None of these look like language as we understand it, yet every single one of them carried meaning. Every one of them got the message through, which makes it strange to look at how much has changed. Today, we can reach someone on the other side of the planet in seconds. We can translate dozens of languages instantly, share images, send our voice across oceans, and somehow, millions of people still feel completely misunderstood, still feel unseen, still feel like the message never quite arrives the way they meant it to. Maybe language was never humanity's greatest communication technology. Maybe it was only the newest one. Long before we built sentences, we built trust. Before we spoke with words, we spoke with presence, with symbols worn on the body, with sounds that bypassed thought entirely, with touch that said what words couldn't, with rhythm, with fire, with the simple act of staying close when it would have been easier to leave. And maybe that's why the conversations we remember most aren't always the ones where the most was said. They're the ones where someone understood us, fully, without explanation, without needing any words at all.